Hi, my name is Miss Emolyn, and I'm a teaching artist in the PACE Arts program, where we integrate the arts with classroom curriculum. We are coming to you today thanks to the Acadiana Center for the Arts and the Lafayette Parish school system in Lafayette, Louisiana. For today's art project, you can use a lot of recycled items. Take a look around your house for anything that is cloth, plastic, paper, or some yarn or string. We are going to be cutting those items into strips and using those strips to hang down below our wind sculpture so that when the wind blows through, we can see that sculpture move. So in order to make them into strips, yes, you will need some scissors, and we're going to put them around a base that can be constructed out of paper, cardboard, or cardstock that's a little bit thicker than paper, or a roll of toilet paper or a paper towel roll. Those rolls are already probably in your house and we can recycle those too. We're going to make them really pretty with colors, so if you have markers, you could use crayons, pens, paints, anything you really feel like to decorate them. I'm going to use tissue paper. You could cut images out of magazines. As you can see, we can combine all of these different art supplies to create something really fun and filled with movement when the wind blows through. We are going to make a very pretty, fun looking wind sculpture out of very simple supplies. This is a toilet paper roll, and this is cardboard, the inside of a cardboard box, in this case fizzy water. So if you don't have a roll already made, then you can use something from a box in the kitchen. You can go and ask for something that you could cut and bend, and we are able to create a tube out of a simple piece of cardboard. So if that's what you have, you will pull apart the box and then cut the flaps, which is these side pieces. We're going to cut those off. And this will make a wind sculpture as tall as the one that you saw in the intro video. So it was a brown piece of cardboard, but when I was done creating my artwork, it was brightly colored and had really pretty fabric coming down from the bottom. So even though it starts off this color, it will not end looking like this. I just want you to get excited for the supplies that we're going to be using. Okay, if you have the tube, you can move on to the part of decorating the outside. If you don't have a tube, let me show you how to connect it, and then we will go back to our artwork for the outside of our piece. So the easiest way I have found is to use tape. Any kind of tape works. But if you use glue, you have to hold it and wait for it to dry. So I like to use glue for the outside parts, but to use tape for getting our tube put together. So I'm just bending it so that the inside is green, but the outside is brown. And I'm going to tape it like this, and I will create a tube. So try and do that with me. So I'm going to take a long piece of tape, and I'm putting it down on the inside of the tube, which is the green part, and I'm not pressing it all the way down, just a little bit, so that when I curve it back to the inside on itself, we would say, I'm going to tape that piece of tape to the piece of cardboard. Okay? You can see the tape right there, and put your thumbs on the inside to press it down. Now this piece of tape will hold only the inside, so we want to put a second piece of tape on the outside. Transparent tape means you can see through it, and it works nice for this project because we want to see other things. We don't want to see the tape. We don't want it to stand out. We want it to disappear. So we find transparent tape and press it down. If you need, you can put some up and over the edge if you feel like it's going to come apart. And I say let's do that because it is going to be in the wind. The wind is a really strong force, and we can feel it, and it blows our hair and it blows our clothes, and it'll blow our wind sculpture. So because it has so much strength, we want this to be strong too. So put one piece of tape on the top, and notice it'll stand right up. You can curve it in your hands, and we're going to put one piece of tape on the other side. This is called reinforcing, so that it will not come apart on us. Okay? So this one's a little bit taller and a little bit bigger than if we were using a roll, the toilet paper roll. They're both going to have really cool characteristics about it. Now, I thought blue would be nice to roll this tube up in, but I also like to create some designs with markers and crayons because I just think it's really fun to color. So take a crayon or a marker, and I'm putting not the tip down but the side of the marker, and I'm going back and forth and back and forth, up and down and up and down and back and forth, and it makes nice brush strokes, almost like chalk. Kind of looks like pastels or chalk if you've used those art supplies. Now since we went this way with the red, let's go this way with the purple. Noticing it'll give us fun lines, and it looks interesting over the blue paper. There is a crease in the middle of this paper because I had folded it for a different project, but we can recycle and reuse anything that we don't think is finished. Actually, using this diagonal line, let's take a third color and make diagonal lines just like this, fold all the way across our brush strokes. So start with the corner and brush strokes down on the blue paper with a diagonal line. Nice. So you've chosen 3 colors and colored it in 3 directions to create just a nice pattern. Okay? Then you lay your piece of roll, your cardboard, down, and we want to make the paper the same size as the roll. So it will overlap, and we can go this whole distance here to here, but this part is too tall and this part is too tall. So we want to cut that off. Okay? Now, you can take a pencil and draw and roll and draw and roll. That is one way of doing it. Or you can take a ruler, and noticing that the top reaches the top of the drawing and the bottom reaches the bottom of the drawing, we can just mark a line along the edge of the ruler. And remember, we put the sides of the ruler on the sides of the paper. See how the side of the ruler is meeting the side of the paper, and we draw a line. If you have a friend or adult that can help you, we're just cutting off what looks solid blue and we're keeping the pattern, okay? And it's okay if it's not perfect, because if we cut away a little bit too much, we'll just see the brown. and that will not be a problem for our art project. All right, moving the ruler aside. Take your scissors, pick up your piece of paper. Remember how we put our fingers in the big part and our thumb in the small part? We cut with the same hand that we write with. So if you're confused as to for what hand to cut with, you pick up the scissors in the same hand that you pick up your pencil to write. And slowly watch for the black line and cut the same line, cut that black line with your scissors. Now we get to use some glue. I'm gonna move this is decorative paper that we're gonna use in a second, and it is a windy day, so I'm gonna put that roll of tape on top of it. One of the reasons that I thought of doing this is because the wind is out today. So if you want to pick up and double check to see if you roll the paper around, does it match? It does. And there's a little bit extra, okay? So I'm gonna cut where I see the blue on both sides, up to the pattern. The pattern is where we drew with a marker. Can you do that? You can always ask for help. Cut up to where you colored. Okay, flip it over. Your coloring is on the outside. Put a little bit of glue. This is the blue clear glue. And we're going to outline. You probably will need some help for this. We squeeze a little, not a lot. So I'm squeezing a little with my hand, and I'm almost drawing a line, like if I had a pencil, but I'm drawing it with the glue. And I'm going to draw a square, 4 sides, just like the sides of the paper. And then I'm going to draw one of our favorite words, our squiggle in the middle, okay? The squiggle in the middle helps it stay down, okay? And then put the tape on the middle of your piece of paper and put the tube at the very bottom and the very top of your blue paper. Lift one side of the paper and press. So using your fingers, press. Then roll. So we pull our circular shape and we roll the tube all the way around. At this point we can pick it up and check our work, pressing the sides and asking, will it stay? Is it going to stay? Is it safe? Looks pretty good to me, but I notice that the paper goes up above the cardboard, so you probably will want to ask an adult to cut that. If there is just a little, you can also fold it over like this, okay? So take the paper that you see that's extra and just fold it to the inside. Now this blue piece of paper, you can color it and put as much artwork as you want on the outside. But since we're doing something 3D, which means something that we can hold and move in our hands and see from all angles, that is 3D, we're calling it a sculpture. So instead of spending all of our time drawing, we want to use some of our time on putting all the pieces together. So don't spend too much time on the drawing so that you can spend the extra time putting your pieces together. Take one last small piece of tape, go up and over, turn. This is where the paper comes together, okay? Take your other piece of tape and come up and over and tape it down. Okay. Now not only do you have something beautiful, doesn't look like the cardboard anymore, but is going to be unique, just made by you, and it'll be just only one like it. Okay? Next, let's decorate a couple things. So you can use all kinds of pieces of paper for decoration. This is a very light paper. This is called tissue paper because it's very, very light. And I want to cut out a couple shapes with the tissue paper. So hold your scissors again and see if you could cut any shape. Any shape. Curving my scissors around, I am cutting a circle. We're going to glue that down in 1 second. And how about this pink? Let's make another shape with this pink. So this time we'll go straight up and turn and cut and turn. Now if cutting is new for you, you can ask somebody to draw the piece of paper before you cut it, okay? See how it's windy, it's blowing things around. But what I mean by drawing before we cut, I'm gonna put this under so the wind won't blow it. You could ask somebody, you could say, will you please draw a triangle for me? That's what I would do for you if we were in class. And I would say, sure. Triangle has 3 sides. Let's draw a triangle. 1, 2, and 3. Then you pick up your scissors and you cut along each line. 1 line of the triangle. Here's your second line of the triangle. And your third line of the triangle. Now we get to glue down our shapes. Okay? We're learning a lot today. We're learning cutting, we're learning gluing. This paper is so thin, we don't need a lot of glue. Okay? Let's do dots. Dots of glue. We don't want to over glue. So I'm just dotting with my glue, and look, if I go like this, pick it up, then all I have to do is find a spot and put my triangle down. Press lightly, and it'll stick. Good. Take our other 2 shapes. For decoration, we can put them anywhere. And you can either do dots or lines, but remember, not a lot of glue. This doesn't need a lot just to get our thin paper to stick, okay? And I'm going around in a couple different places with my glue. Picking up our shape. Let's see, what if we put it on top of the line of paper? Our decorations can kind of hide that line of paper. There we go. One more, we've got the circle, but we don't need a lot. See the dot? Dot, dot, dot. Don't need a lot. All right, pick it up and let's put it above the circle. On top, so it overlaps. There we go. Press. All right. The last part is one of my favorites. We want something long, okay? We can use yarn because it is very long. Okay, we want something that will hang down below our wind sculpture so that not only can we see the movement of it down long, but it will help push our wind sculpture around in the wind. So today we're going to use a couple different things for our long pieces. Long piece means it goes probably farther than your arms can reach. Okay? Gonna cut it very, very long. Fold it in half where the two ends meet. And we're gonna use that for some of our movement in our wind sculpture. Okay, if you have yarn, cut another piece of yarn and fold it where the two edges meet. And here's the fold, and put it right next to it for our wind sculpture. If you don't have yarn, you can use fabric or paper or even plastic. You could use, this is from a plastic bag. And you might have a plastic bag. You can ask somebody in your family if they went to the store, they might have a plastic bag. Cut all the way across. And let's do a bunch of strips. Let's do 4, because the more strips you have down below, the more activity there will be when the wind blows. Thinking of the wind, some words. Can you think of some words to describe the wind? How about this word, whoosh? As the wind blows, what do the trees look like when the wind blows? We see some windy days and some sunny days, some rainy days. There's all kinds of weather here in Louisiana. Okay, so I have 4 strips, but because this was a bag, it means they're connected in a circle. So the way to make a circle into a square is in one spot, you cut your strip of paper. Now it might be easiest for you to gather all these supplies in the beginning and prepare them one by one so that they're all ready to go and to dangle. The wind already tried to push it out of my hands. Okay, all you have to do now is take your tape, one piece of tape, and one piece of plastic, or just to show you, to give you another idea, you could use fabric. If you have a piece of fabric at home, you can cut it into strips. You can ask your family, do you have a t-shirt that you don't want? And you can take that t-shirt and cut it into strips. You might not have used fabric for art before, but you can. And maybe I'll add that in to show you that you can use fabric to add color to an art project. Okay, one piece of paper and one strip, in this case, of the red plastic, and we're going to tape by pushing our thumb to the middle of the tube. Good. Put that aside because it is secure, which means it will not move. Take one strip and one tape. Tape it down. Pick up your tube and tape it right beside. Okay, we're gonna do that for the rest of the strips, and you will see exactly what this will look like in a second when you can see the whole thing. I'm gonna hang it up for you, taping to the inside each piece of material or plastic. Here goes the material. Tape works with this too. I'm going to move around to the other side bending my plastic out of the way. Hold it to the middle and press the tape. Then it'll stay. Good. See, these are all taped, so they are going to hang perfectly. We're moving this little by little around in a circle. One more piece of the red plastic. Hold your tape. Put it on the inside. Press with your thumb. Nice job. Let's do one piece of yarn, because if you only have yarn, you could put tons and tons of pieces of yarn and it would look really fun. But in this case, I'm going to use one piece of yarn for the bottom, put it right next to the fabric. So I'm going to fold it to the inside and press with my thumb. Then I'm going to use the other piece of yarn for the top. We are almost there. We just have to put a top so that this can hang, and then all of our wind can go through. Okay, so the easiest way is to use a hole punch. Okay, if you don't have a hole punch, you can cut notches into your tube, slide the yarn into the notch, and then tape it on the top. Or you can tape the yarn directly to the inside and take the other end and tape it directly inside on the other side. That will work very, very well. Do that if you don't have a hole punch. If you do have a hole punch, put the inside in, just like that. And this will be, you squeeze your hand and you pull it in, okay? So you might ask an adult for help because you want to place and squeeze. If you've never used a hole punch, say, please help me use this hole punch. And you squeeze and it punches a hole. Okay? Move to the other side. This is one side with the hole. We want to go to the other side of the hole, of the circle to make a hole. Okay? You can do that by also putting your hole punch in until you can see it on the other side. Okay? And there's your second hole. Now, we want to push the yarn through the hole. You can use string or yarn. And what if you don't have string or yarn? You could use a shoelace. You could use a rubber band. You could use a little rubber band or a hair tie to go through the two holes, because it doesn't have to be very long. This is just the part to hang. See how it's running through both sides? We bring the yarn up and we cut it right there. And this is where you want to practice, like you tie your shoes, where you do under and over, pull it under and a little bit tight, over, and pull it one more time, a little bit tight. And if that's a little confusing to you, please ask for help. There we have it. We're gonna hang this up outside and show you what it looks like in the wind. Look how long those strips are. All right, here they are next to each other, blowing in the wind. First one with the blue fabric and the orange and yellow design, and the second one with the purple and pink designs and the red pieces of plastic. Actually, the plastic works well to blow. It's very light And we securely taped everything together so it doesn't fall apart. Every time the wind blows, these ribbons are gonna dance. I really hope you enjoyed today's art lesson, and also discovering that we can use all kinds of items to recreate things and make them look fun and full of life, something that we might have just thrown into the trash. We will be posting a new lesson every day at 10 a.m. on the Acadiana Center for the Arts YouTube channel for kindergarten, first, and second grades, each tied to the academic curriculum. You can also get these lessons on AOC as a part of the Learn United program, accessible on AOC, on Cox Channel 16 or LUS Channel 4. Kindergarten lessons air at 8 and first and second grade lessons at 9 a.m. Some lessons will be in visual arts and some in creative movement, so be sure to come back and make art with us tomorrow. If you are interested in supporting programs like this, please visit acadianacenterforthearts.org, the nonprofit who manages the PACE program, and help us by spreading the word, share our videos, and of course, keep making art.